Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Pankaj Dhingra, a proud FinTrammer and difficulty for CPA exam. Guys, before we really start and jump on in terms of what we really had to cover today, one sense check that I really need to have is, especially for the people who are there on the Zoom, can you guys hear me and see me rightfully? If you guys can please confirm that, I think that'll be really great. Can anybody please confirm, guys, who are there uh, on the Zoom, that you guys are able to hear me rightfully? You can chat, you can talk, and let me know if. All right, Priya says yes. Thank you, Priya. Thanks very much for that. Eve also says it. Okay, fair enough. Good. Thank you very much, guys. Apologies for being late. We had some technical issue over here, and due to which we are like some minutes late. To start a session. Very good, guys. Thank you very much for really joining in. All I can tell you is that coming 45 minutes or so are really going to be a roller coaster for us. Primarily because we will be catering and trying to answer one of the very important question, which is that now that we have 2024 on the cards, now that we have the discipline subjects, sir, which discipline subject is to be chosen? Many of the CPA candidates are really having that kind of a dilemma in their mind or a question in their mind in terms of what subject they should be choosing on, and why they should choose what they should choose is again something that is bothering them. That is the reason, my friend, we thought that it is all the more worthwhile, all the more important that let's have a session and talk through that. The intent that I have, and since this is being live streamed on YouTube also, the intent that I have is that in case any of you have any question in relation to your own role, your own profile, what would suit you better, why it would suit you better, and so on and so forth, just put it on the comment box and I'll be happy to pick it up and try answering that. Is that clear? Does that sound like a plan? Yes, sir. All right. So without wasting any more time, let's just jump in and start with the proceedings of the day. We would be going through, my friend, what the discipline subjects are in this session. While on the whole, the problem that we have been hearing out from many of the I would say CPA candidates is that which subject is to be chosen is something that we really needed an answer for. But I think the right way to really address this as a concern or address this as a question is to first try and understand what all these subjects are, or are all about. So for example, let's understand each and every subject first, and then what we will do is then we will start a discussion in terms of why I feel that this subject would go well, would go well for you, and this subject would work better for you. We'll talk on that after that. Alrighty, the intent or the agenda that we have today that we will be covering is that, of course, the welcome note has already happened. We'll be talking on the US CPA curriculum. Now, this is for the folks who have just joined US CPA or they are contemplating of joining CPA as a curriculum. So we'll really, give a bird's eye view in terms of, what the curriculum looks like, and then we will quickly jump on and deep dive into the discipline subjects just to have an understanding and insight as to what these subjects are. And towards the end, we'll talk on which subject to be chosen and which would I recommend that would work better for you. So we'll talk on that, and then towards the end we'll talk on the Q&A. We really want to talk on this. We really want to answer all your queries, all your questions that you may have in relation to your CPA, in relation to these discipline subjects, and we'll take it on from there. Does that sound like a plan? Yes, sir. All right. Though without really delving too much on in terms of what we would be covering, let's start in terms of what CPA curriculum is all about. From the 2024 onwards, we have seen a change in the CPA curriculum. We used to have 4 subjects. Even right now, only we have 4 subjects. So the subjects has not increased. For the subjects for which you need to sit and give the exam is still to be the 4, number is still 4, but what has happened is that now 3 exams are the core exams, and then we have 3 discipline exams, out of which we have to choose one. Sir, yahi to problem hai. This is what really is the struggle area for us. This is what is really troubling us, that out of these 3 discipline areas, which one would go better for us? We'll come on to that, we'll talk on that. But But let's first understand what all are the 6 subjects now as far as the 2024 curriculum is concerned. All right, we have the audit and attestation as one of the subject in the core curriculum, which is more to do with what you would do from the US audit and attestation standpoint. If I really talk on from the Indian context standpoint, you might have done the auditing standards what are being issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Now this is more to do with the folks who are in India, and of course they have done what they've done. But for the for my students who are sitting across the globe, you may have your own country-wide auditing standards. What we will be learning in US CPAs that we'll be going through the generally accepted auditing standards of US. Now this is something which is very heavily tested and very well there in the curriculum of audit and attestation. We understand what is to be done from the preparation of audit. We have to understand pre-engagement, post-engagement things. We have to understand kind of reports that are to be issued. We will also understand kind of entities that you really need to audit on, what all things that you really need to consider. We will also talk on various things in relation to the not-for-profit or governmental organizations and so on and so forth. Effectively, the intent of the audit exam is to make you perfect from the auditing standpoint as far as the US regulators are concerned. So that is the intent of this exam, and we would be, of course, deep diving into the same in our in our sessions, in our curriculums, when we'll pick up the audit as a subject. The next one is financial accounting and reporting. Guess what, guys? You cannot be a professional accountant without having a expertise in the accounting and reporting domain. And financial accounting and reporting is just that. It really prepares you from the standpoint of knowing what exactly you need to know from the financial accounting and reporting as far as the US curriculum or US geography is concerned. You'll be learning the US generally accepted accounting principles, US GAAP per se, in the entire FAR. And that is the important thing for anyone who want to join any MNC who has the requirement of US accounting and reporting. Very important curriculum, very important subject. It effectively, I would say, is the heart of CPA. FAR is something that everybody has to really excel on, and you would be excelling on with us when you would be starting off the curriculum and moving on. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Then comes the taxation and the regulation. Now, can you be a good accountant, a professional accountant, without really knowing the compliances and the taxes of that particular country? Nope, not possible. And that is the reason, my friend, the third subject, which is taxation and regulation, it really deals with what taxes, what kind of entities we have in US, individuals, S corporations, C corporations, partnerships, and so on and so forth. What kind of assessees are there in US? What you would really need to do in reference to those assessees, how those assessees are being taxed, how those assessees are getting some credit, some exemptions, and so on and so forth. What is the tax rate? What kind of forms they need to fulfill? What kind of, I would say, nuances that really need to play around with as far as the calculation of the total income is concerned, the total taxes are concerned, and so on and so forth. That is something, my friend, we learn in the taxation and the regulation. And anything and everything that we do is from the IRS standpoint, is from the standpoint of what really happens in the US from the taxes standpoint. Very important, guys. Very important in terms of curriculum, because these three, and what they've done is they've rightly named them to be the core subject, because these are like really core of any qualification when it comes to finance. You cannot be a good finance leader if you do not have a command over taxes, over reporting, and to an extent over audit, because you really have to have the grasp of all of those things if you want to contribute well to any organization. And that is the reason, my friend, these three are the core subjects that anyone and everyone who is thinking through US CPA has to be taken care of, has to be giving as an exam. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Now, sir, what is this discipline subject, sir? There are 3 discipline subjects, sir, and that is where the confusion is. Sir, we don't have any confusion. Core subject we anyway have to give. No. So there is no confusion there. We all have to deal with it. There is no problem there. Problem is in reference to the discipline subjects, sir. We have 3 subjects and we have to choose one, sir. It's a big time problem, sir. Let's discuss on that. We have three discipline subjects that are being introduced from the 2024 standpoint. We have now first one, which is like there is no chronology as such in any of the subjects in CPA, but let's take first one to be the bar, the business analysis and reporting. We'll talk on that in detail, but to give you an insight or to give you a layman's term, I would say bar is an elder brother of FAR. As of now, I'll just rest it over here. We'll talk more on this when we'll move on to the bar slide. All right. Then we have the information system and control. I would say information system and control is somewhat somewhere a brother of audit, my friend. You would see many terms of ISC in the audit. All right. Then we have the TCP, tax compliance and planning. I would again say that TCP is an elder brother of the taxation and regulation. As of now, I would only say that these are like extensions of the core subjects per se, but of course these are like not mere extensions. They've added various colors to it, and that is what we'll be covering as we move forward. Is that clear? Yes, sir. All right. Now, if you really talk on which subject is to be chosen, I think the first and the foremost point or foremost area that we all need to understand is that what all are these three discipline subjects. Let's understand that in detail, and then we'll talk on in terms of what would make better sense for you if you really have to dwell on that. The first subject, which is the BAR, the business analysis and reporting subject, if I really have to give you a bird's eye view of what this subject is all about, this effectively inculcates, and I'm more getting layman's now, my friend, this effectively inculcates some of the concept of economics, some of the concepts of, I would say, costing, and some advanced components of financial accounting and reporting. So what they've done is that, an erstwhile, if I really go back from 2023 and, backwards, they used to have one subject called BEC, business, it was business as a subject, the business environment and concepts. What they've done is there are many terms that were there in business environment and concepts that were particularly in relation to, let's say, economics, business studies, or for that matter, costing. They have taken up those things and have added up over here. And over and above that, what they've done is some of the advanced components of FAR, they have taken up and they have put it up over here. It's an amazing combination, all I can tell you. I loved it the way they have done it. And you really have to, because the concepts that you would learn in BAR are very much familiar to you, because you have seen that somewhere in some shape or format. So if I really have to talk to you, and I'm just giving an insight, if I really have to talk to you, do you know the demand, the supply, the equilibrium, the perfect competition, monopolistic competition, do you know that? Most of the guys will say, yes, sir, we understand that. Do you know, internal controls, internal control framework, the components of internal control? Yes, sir, somewhat, somewhere we have done that, sir. Do you know the costing, the marginal costing, the standard costing? Do you know, the cost of manufacturing a product? How do you really account for a particular cost of production? Yes, sir. That is the basics, sir, that we have done in the costing. I get that, my friend. And that is the reason I was saying that, from the familiarity standpoint, this would look more familiar to you. So I just wanted to highlight that. And then comes the advanced component of what is there from the FAR standpoint. There are some FAR areas that, that examiner has picked up specifically and have put it up in the bar because they really want you to know that advanced financial accounting and reporting concepts, and that is what we'll be dealing in over here. If you really have to talk on from the weightage standpoint, the business analysis, which is, the terms that I just said, which is more of, let's say, the costing, the business economics, the business studies, is approximately 40 to 50% in the weightage as far as the overall exam is concerned. Some technical accounting and reporting areas against the advanced version of the FAR is constituting around 30 to 40%, and then 10 to 20% is the governmental accounting, because what they've done is that earlier FAR used to have huge governmental accounting. Now they've taken up that. Only the introduction is there in the FAR, but most of the component have moved in BAR, and that is what you'll be learning when the governmental account, as far as the governmental accounting is concerned. 10 to 20% weightage, depending upon what the examiner really want to ask, is in relation to the governmental account. that is what the overall content of bar is all about. Again, and I'm not saying, my friend, which one is better, which one is not. I'm just trying to tell you that what is there in it, so that you are able to understand and appreciate as to what this is all about. If I really have to tell you, and of course, bar book size, it is huge in terms of content, but it has 6 modules. The first 3, sorry, it has 5 modules. The first 3 modules are particularly in relation to the things that I just mentioned, which is more on economics, costing, and the business study side, and the other two modules are more on the additional areas of FAR that he really wants to cover as far as the advanced areas of finance is concerned. Is that clear? Yes, sir. All right. Moving on, guys. Not to forget. If I really have to tell you the kind of questions that are being asked in the bar as an exam, you get 50 MCQs in the bar exam, 4 task-based simulations, and 3 written communication tasks, wherein you may have to write a memo, you may have to write a letter, you may have to write a response, and so on and so forth. And that is the only place, bar is the only exam wherein you get the written communication question in the exam. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Moving on to the ISC, Information System and Control. Information System and Control. Sir, name suggests a lot, sir, but we really needed to understand what exactly is there as far as the content is concerned. And I'm not hiding away, my friend. I'm not running away from that. That is the reason, I'm carrying all the books over here. Just wanted to show you that, yes, ISC is also one of it, and that is what you really need to know. That is what you really need to understand as far as the curriculum is concerned. Now, what has happened, my friend, that considering the changes that are happening in the modern era, in the technological era, in the era wherein we are really struggling to cope up with the changes in the technology, the accounting and the reporting and the finance is also undergoing a big time change, because we all are exposed to various technological issues and reforms that are happening in the industry. ISC effectively deals with all of those areas that are really happening over here. It really deals with the regulatory frameworks that really impacts from the IT standpoint. It touches upon the overall architecture of the information systems and the management piece of it as to what you really needed to do from the standpoint of infrastructure, system, and the data management. It also deals with the security and the confidentiality element of it, which is huge, my friend, as far as the concern is concerned, it is huge, because most of the organizations are really struggling in terms of having any issues of cyber securities, the kind of control checks that they really need to have, and so on and so forth. All of that is heavily covered in this I would say subject. And then towards the end, we have various engagements that you really needed to get into more from the system and the organizational control standpoint. So on one side, we'll be talking on the risks, and the other side will be talking on the controls that you really need to build on from the organizational standpoint, from the finance standpoint, and so on and so forth. That is the overall composition of ISC is all about. If I really talk on the weightage, the overall, I would say, design, the frameworks, and the information system, I would say at large, including the management piece of it, is approximately 30 to 40% or 35 to 45% of your total exam. The security and confidentiality piece, the privacy piece, the kind of things that are really happening in the current world is 35 to 45% again, which is huge, my friend, as far as the coverage is concerned. And then from the control standpoint, SOC standpoint, it is more to do with what the systems and the organizations have to do from the control standpoint. You have 15 to 25% weightage as far as that particular area is concerned. It's a 4-hour exam. Every exam in CPA is 4-hour exam. You get 82 multiple choice questions in the exam and 6 task-based simulations. 6 task-based simulations in the information system and control exam. If I really have to give you from the quantity standpoint, after bar, anything, if there is anything that comes in the discipline as far as the volume is concerned, ISC is the one. ISC has less volume than bar, but more volume than the TCP as a curriculum. Is that clear? Yes, sir. All right. Now, my friend, the last one that I have is the information system. Last one I have is the TCP, the Tax Compliance and Planning ISC. We just did it. What is there in the TCP? As I said, TCP is the elder brother, my friend, of taxation and regulation. We know that. Now, what the examiner has done is that while he has given you the overall, I would say, idea or I would say overall perspective of what really happens in the US as far as the taxes are concerned, he has taken up few advanced areas from the taxation and regulation and has crafted this TCP as a subject. He really wants you to know in more detail as far as what kind of tax compliances and planning issues are as far as the individuals are concerned, as far as the corporations are concerned, as far as different entities are concerned with reference to their own tax issues. They will talk on the tax planning, tax issues in relation to individuals, in relation to corporations, and of course in relation to the other entities at large. And that is how they have framed up different chapters, different modules, and towards the end they have taken up one specific topic, my friend, which is in relation to the property transactions. What taxes you would have on disposal, what taxes you would have on non-disposal, non-taxable deductions, and so on and so forth. So they've really gone into the details as far as the taxability and I would say the distribution or the sale of properties and the fixed assets are concerned. We also take into consideration the related party issues over here, which is again something to be looked forward to, because that is again very huge in terms of the coverage that you would have in the exam. If I really have to talk on the weightage of how the exam is being structured, the tax compliance and planning for the individuals is around 30 to 40%, which is huge, right, in terms of weightage. Then from the, I would say, entity tax planning, which is more of corporate, you have 10 to, again, 30 to 40% relates to that. And, I would say, other entities tax planning, else than the corporate and the individual, you have the weightage of 10 to 20%. And then last is property transactions, which has again a weightage of 10 to 20%, which is how you deal with various taxes and so on and so forth as far as the property disposition or distribution is concerned. Is that clear? Yes, sir. If I really have to talk on the question pattern that you get to see in the exam, you have 68 multiple choice questions in the exam in this in TCP, and we have 7 task based simulation having weightage of 50 to 50% in the exam as far as the curriculum is concerned. Is that clear? Yes, sir. Now that's what, my friend, this curriculum is all about. That's what TCP is all about. But one thing I'm sure must be troubling you, and this guy really says a lot, that which subject to choose, sir. We have understood, sir. We have gone through the book. We have understood that these are the 3 subjects that are there, and probably we have an idea. But sir, the concern is that which subject is to be chosen. Honestly, guys, there is no straightforward answer to this, that which subject would work better for you. It all depends, it all depends on your own strength area, that where is that you feel that you're more inclined to or you have more strength of. It really depends on that. So it is very difficult to comment that this one would be really a good fit for you. But I can tell you a few factors that I've considered while assessing these subjects. And then, how do I think which would one, work better for someone and which would not, is something that I really want to talk on. I think first thing first is ease. That out of the 3 curriculums, which one would be more easier for me? I think that is, I'm just giving you a thought, my friend, just giving you some perspective around it, that how you should be thinking about. Now considering, and this is more to do with, where you're more confident on. If you're more confident on your own taxes, and I can tell you, I met someone who is working in a Big Four in US taxes for last 10 years. And, since he was working over there, so for him, there was a natural, I would say, somewhat natural affinity towards taxes. So he wanted to just step on and start with TCP. Obvious, right? Because you have done it so much that now you find ease in terms of doing that and working on that, and you think that it's gonna be very, I would say, easy ride for yourself. That's one way to look at it. The another way to look at it is familiarity. Now this is again a subset of what I said, ease. That if you're doing that, you are more familiar to it, and then your ease really goes up. But many of the students who have not been doing anything in relation to any of the job that they're really looking at right now, because they're still not in the job, or they're in the job but their job is like very much, you know, not related to the CPA as a curriculum. Now, for them, what is familiarity? Had you been in the US GAAP practice or financial accounting and reporting practice in US company, probably that bar is more closer to my heart, because then your familiarity and ease will go more towards bar than any other subject. If you are more in the taxes, then that TCP will go more. I would say will work better for me. If you're in more in relation to audit, then that ISC will go better to you, because you're already working in the audit, you've already seen the controls aspects and so on and so forth. So you may think that ISC can work better. But especially for the folks who have not given any exam, or who are not in the CPA job per se, or anything related to CPA per se, for them familiarity is a big concern. Which one is more familiar, sir? ISC is more familiar to us, or TCP is more familiar to us, or bar is more familiar to us? I personally feel that for the folks who are not doing anything or any job per se, or who are doing very generic job, which is more of a controllership function or accounting function and so on and so forth, for them bar would be more familiar as a subject, because you have done economics, you have done business studies, you have really gone through the basics of costing. 50% of bar is absolutely in you even right now. So from the familiarity standpoint, for them bar would work better rather than TCP or ISC, because those are like the advanced version of the concepts that you may not have done even till now. So familiarity standpoint, bar really gets the point for anyone and everyone who is working in accounting, reporting and compliance as an organization. And here they are not particularly in some specific field. So they're not into taxes, they're not into audit and so on so forth. So for them, bar works better from the familiarity standpoint. Got it, sir? Very clear. Then also come an aspect that you have to think yourself, that what is your current and gonna be future role that you're really aspiring for. Let's say I'm a controller or a controllership guy, and I want to get onto the tax side of it. Maybe TCP can be a better choice for me, but I want to get onto the audit side of it. Maybe ISC can be a better choice for you. But I'm a controller. I want to be a CFO. I really want to, or I want to be a controller. I'm in a controllership function. I want to be a controller. Then bar is the right choice for you, because it really goes well with what you're doing right now and what you'll be doing from the futuristic standpoint. Like what I just mentioned, right? The guy who I just met who is working in a US tax, he wanted to stay in US tax and do more in US taxes. So for him, TCP can be a better choice rather than bar or ISC for that matter. It really depends, where you want to reach. If you want to reach over there, why not? Then comes the marketability. Out of the three, which one you think is more marketable? I can tell you one thing, there are two kind of jobs that are very much there and very much common now globally, which are there, wherein people are needing CPA. One is, the accounting, reporting and compliance piece of it. And the other one is US tax piece of it. So from the marketability standpoint, I think bar and TCP has an edge over ISC from the marketability standpoint. And if I really compare in between the bar and the TCP, I personally feel bar has a better value in the market, because your acceptance really goes wide. TCP would be only relevant for the tax roles, but bar is having a more generic and broader acceptability across the organizations. And that is where you may get a brownie point if you have done the bar and you become a qualified CPA, because then there are many organizations, including Big Fours, wherein you can step in and start practicing. Because if you have done bar, they will anyway hire you in audit. If you have done bar, they will anyway hire you in the assurance division, in the accounting division, in the reporting division. The only place only place that you may not get hired for is the specific or specific tax roles kind of thing in the Big Four. Because general tax you've already done, none. You've already done general taxes because you've done taxation and regulation any which ways. You only do not know some specialized areas of taxation, hence you may not be eligible for that. But from the marketability standpoint, bar would have an edge over there. Then comes the timing in terms of what time you would need to complete these three individual subjects. I think bar would take anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks. It's big in terms of curriculum, so 10 to 12 weeks are certainly given. As far as the ISC is concerned, it'll take like, I think, again 10 weeks or so. As far as the TCP is concerned, it may take lesser time, 8 to 10 weeks, or 8 to 12 weeks, depending upon what you have done before. But at least from the content standpoint, TCP has less content, so you may need less amount of time. These are the things, my friend, you may need to consider. And if I really have to guide you, I really have to suggest you, if you are in some specific curriculum or some specific role. So we deal with so many corporates, right? And we have students from all of those corporates. There are some corporates wherein they have employees specifically working in tax division. For them, we would recommend that go for TCP. But for all other people who are not specifically working in taxes or tax roles, I think for you, bar is the right choice. Bar has an edge on familiarity because you have already done a lot of content. Even if you're not part of CPA, even if you're not CPA student right now, you've done a lot of content of bar on your own. Already it is there in your blood, right? It is already there. And hence, ease really goes up. So familiarity and ease really goes up. Your current and future role, since it is having a more broader and generic acceptability, it is having a more broader horizon and acceptability for you. So it has a good point. Marketability I have already mentioned. There is the acceptance of bar will be there in any and every organization. So why not? Timing I think is 2 weeks here and there can be a concern, but broadly bar has a brownie point if you are not working in a specific tax domain. ISC personally I do not like rectification too much. I do not write like rote learning, and there is a lot in ISC that you'll be like you have to remember, you have to memorize, and so on and so forth. So personally I'm not really inclined to that, and that is the reason I'm refraining myself from going on to the ISC side. But in case you are in a specific audit function, forensic accounting, forensic audit, cyber audits, and so on and so forth, you can certainly look for ISC as one of the area that you can really aspire for. Generically, if I have to rate all three, I would say bar is a most preferred one. Then is the TCP if you are in a specific tax role, and if you are in a specific control or a cyber security role, or a role wherein you are more control freak from the audit standpoint, ISC can be something that you can look forward to. That is what my take is, my friend, as far as all the three subjects are concerned. I hope I was able to add some value to you as far as you making a right decision for yourself. To all the folks who we have worked on and we have working with, we have been categorically I would say recommending that the first choice should be bar, and then the TCP, and then the ISC. I would again comment the same back to you, that this is how you should be looking forward to. That is what, my friend, I really needed to cover from the standpoint of you having a decision for yourself as far as the disciplinary exam is concerned. But towards the end, I just wanted to I would say share with you in terms of what FinTram along with Becker really brings onto the table for the CPA candidates, and why we are I would say we are the first choice for any and every CPA student, because of the best in class live interactive sessions that we really have, the kind of elements that we provide. So we are a channel partner with Becker, so you get the original Becker content along with the ebooks and the paperback books. You would also get the targeted I would say mentoring sessions from the already qualified CPAs who have experience of multiple years in various organizations like myself. You would also get the end-to-end support on your student evaluation and licensing. That is again a big plus that you really need to have. And towards the end, we all will also be helping you in various revision, boot camps that you really need to go through before you really sit for exam. And icing on the cake is having I would say ongoing student discussions forums and the doubt resolutions that would help you in terms of clarifying anything and everything, like these sessions where we take up the doubts and we come up further discussions to really help you in taking the right decision for yourself. That is what I really wanted to cover, guys. We have provided our number over here, in case anybody wants to reach out. But I'm opening up, guys. Anybody has any doubt, any concern, people who are on there, on the YouTube, you can really put that on the chat. People who are on the Zoom, you can also use the chat. In case you want to talk on, you can again, unmute yourself and you can really bring up any kind of doubts that anyone may have. Happy to answer, guys. I'm also providing my own WhatsApp number over here, along with the details of FinTram, and you can reach out to anyone and be more than happy to help you, in your journey to become a qualified CPA. Anybody, guys, any doubt anyone have? Tarannum, Myra, Gagan, anything anybody has? Rohan, anybody? I'm just calling out names, guys. Intent is that you should take the best out of this. Myra says, how much time to give to your discipline subject? I mentioned that, Myra. Generally it takes anywhere between, let's say, 10 to 12 weeks to give and clear any discipline subject. 1 week here and there doesn't really matter, but more or less I would say anywhere between 10 to 12 weeks is something that is needed. Study time per day, I always say that 4 to 5 hours. If you're giving on a regular basis, you don't need anything else. If you're able to do that, sky's the limit, boss. There is nobody there is nobody in the world who will stop you to clear this exam. Any other questions, guys? Anyone may have, please, guys, take the best out of this time. I am deliberately wanting you to ask questions as much as possible. All right. I have, which discipline subject should I select? So please suggest me. I am from tax domain. If you're specifically from tax domain, Jakpreet, right? Yeah. So if you're specifically from the tax domain, Jakpreet, I already mentioned, and you want to stay in tax domain, go for TCP. But if you want to move out to any other domain, go for bar. Bar has a more wider acceptability, my friend. And, I personally feel that, I never wanted to be concentrated in one area. So I always wanted to be like, generic one so that I can fit on in any company. So when I did my CPA, again, that point in time, there was no discipline subject per se. But I was always of the view that I don't want to go in audit. I don't want to go in tax. I want to go in finance and lead the finance as a function. And that is where, having generic one always help. Having an area which has a more wider acceptability also help. So if you've done bar, you'll be fit for any corporation, including the big fours. But if you've done TCP, then you'll be only, I would say, or the organization that you can only target is the one that are specializing in US taxes. The people or the organization that do not have or do not do US taxes per se, too much there, too much into it, they would not be able to take you because, you are more into, taxes per se. So for me, being generic always helps. All right, Kritika says, sir, I am from business domain. Which subject should I choose? Bar is a good, I completely agree, Kritika. I'm with you on this. Bar is a good one as far as the business domain is concerned. Because it really, many of the things, and Kritika, you will see that, when you'll start the curriculum, many of the things, 50% at least, you would say that I've already seen, sir. I've already done this. Sir, equilibrium, sir, I know this, sir. Perfect combination, I understand, sir. Sir, marginal costing, variable cost, semi-variable cost, standard costing, material price variance. Sir, I've seen all of this. When you have seen anything like this, Kritika, your ability to really excel that really increases. Because, most of the content is something you will say that, I've seen this, sir. I know this, sir. So it becomes a lot easier for you. Thank you, Jakpreet. Thank you, Kritika. Hazifur said, if someone completes CPA, okay, he get easily job as a fresher. Go ahead, my friend, and talk on and just research on Google. Type CPA fresher jobs. You will be stunned, my friend, in terms of how many jobs they have. It's a huge opportunity, my friend, if you're thinking about doing CPA at this point in time. Aarti says, I'm interested in IT part. ISC is good? Absolutely. Why not? If you're interested more on the IT side of it and you have a good grasping power in terms of, doing a ratification, Aarti, go for it. I'm a practicing advocate in Indian tax. Should I go for TCP? Nope. Absolutely not. There is nothing that you have done that relates to ICP, my friend. That relates to TCP, my friend. Absolutely not. Go for bar. Bar is better one for you. Sir, I'm from CS background, CS executive student. Audit subject will be tough, or it will go smoothly. Audit is anyway tough, my friend. I can tell you that. And that is the reason, I am more scared and skeptical going on to the ISC side also. Because over there also some of the concepts are there which are very closely related to audit. In the CPA curriculum, audit is the most tougher one. I would say it is really tough. So I would say please don't go for that. It will not go smoothly per se. Dikshant says, which one is best pattern to give exam? FAR, audit, ISC, reg. Okay, FAR, audit is good. I think it's a good combination, Dikshant. If you're taking ISC, then this is a good combination. How to study audit? Like, what's the strategies to study it? Kritika, I think your faculty will certainly take care of it in terms of, what strategies is to be followed, how you need to go through the content, how you really need to practice the questions, how you really need to excel on the simulations. Your faculty will certainly take care of it. So don't worry on that. You're a proud FinTrammer. If you are, then you should not be worried at all. Anybody else, guys? Anything? I know we are just on time, but anything? I'll just wait out for the the last question, and then we'll wrap up. Anybody? How much time should we give per day to our studies so that we can clear it one go? I've already mentioned, Myra, 4 to 5 hours a day is more than enough, my friend. Don't have to think too much on it. What is the best pattern to give exam if we choose bar? If you choose bar, no, I would say give FAR, bar, audit and reg. FAR, bar, audit and reg. All right, guys, if there is nothing, let's just wrap up. It was pleasure being here, guys. And if you have any other question, or if you are seeing this video later on and you have a question, put it in the comment box, my friend. We'll be happy to pick it up and help you take the right decision for yourself. And do not forget to subscribe to our channel, FinTram Global, because we would be helping you in any and every step for, towards becoming and being a qualified CPA. I'll see you there in the next one. Till then, this is Pankaj Dhingra signing off.